Story 1, The Mirror Rig. The truck beside me had been matching my speed for 73 miles, and when I finally looked over at the driver, I saw myself staring back. Not someone who looked like me. Me, same scar above my left eyebrow, same faded Peterbilt hat, same 3-day stubble. The other me grinned and waved with my wedding ring on his finger, the one I'd buried with my wife 2 years ago. My name is Robert Hayes, and I've been hauling refrigerated goods across I-80 for 16 years. I know every truck stop between Sacramento and Newark, every way station, every speed trap. I know the difference between road fatigue and something wrong. This was something wrong. The mirror truck stayed exactly parallel to mine, matching every acceleration, every lane change. When I sped up to 85, the speedometer I could see in his cab showed 85. When I slowed to 60, his did too. The cargo trailer behind his Kenworth was identical to mine. Same company logo, same rust pattern on the rear doors, same dangling strap I'd been meaning to secure for 3 weeks. I grabbed my CB radio. Breaker 19, this is Papa Bear heading eastbound at mile marker Fort Welve. Anyone else seeing double out here? Static, then my voice came back through the speaker. Papa Bear, this is Papa Bear heading eastbound at mile marker Fort Welve. I'm seeing you just fine. I dropped the radio. My hand was shaking. The other me was still grinning, and now he was pointing ahead. I followed his finger to see my exit coming up, exit 301, the one I always took to avoid the construction near Des Moines. But I hadn't planned to take it tonight. I was running behind schedule, needed to push through to Iowa City. The mirror truck drifted right, heading for the exit. Without thinking, I followed. My hands moved on the steering wheel like they belonged to someone else. The exit ramp curved away from the interstate, and the mirror truck stayed beside me, impossibly, both of us on the same single-lane ramp. The truck stop at the bottom of the ramp wasn't the one I knew. The sign said Pete's Plaza, same name, same font, but the building was wrong, too many windows. The parking lot stretched back farther than it should, filled with trucks that looked like mine, not similar, identical. I counted 17 Kenworth W900s, all the same dark blue, all with the same refrigerated trailers, all with the license plate reading 7HGF 942. My truck. The mirror truck pulled into an empty spot. I parked beside it because what else could I do? The other me climbed down from his cab. He stretched the same way I stretch after a long haul, reaching high with both arms, then twisting at the waist. He looked at me and smiled. "Took you long enough," he said. His voice was mine, but the tone was off, too cheerful. I haven't sounded cheerful since the funeral. "What is this?" My voice cracked. "This is where we all end up, Bobby." He started walking toward the truck stop entrance. "Come on, they're waiting." Inside, the place was full of me. 20, 30 versions, all wearing the same clothes I'd put on this morning. Some were eating at the counter. Some were playing pool in the corner. One was behind the cash register counting money. They all looked up when I entered. They all smiled the same smile. "New arrival," the cashier me called out. "Who wants to explain it?" An older version of me stood up from a booth, older by maybe 20 years, with white hair and deep wrinkles. "Sit down, Bobby. You'll want to sit down for this." I sat. My legs felt like water. "This started for me in 2003, the old me said. February 19th. I was hauling through Nebraska, same as you, same route, same everything. Saw myself in another truck. Followed myself here. That was 22 years ago." "That's impossible. It's 2024. "For you, sure. For him?" He pointed to a younger version, maybe 25 years old. It's 1998. For the kid at the pool table, it's 2036. Time doesn't work right here. This place is a knot, a loop, the place where Robert Hayes gets stuck. I'm leaving, I stood up. Every version of me in that room shook his head in perfect synchronization. No, they said together. You're not. I ran for the door. It opened to the parking lot, but now there were more trucks, 50 of them, 100, all mine. The sky above was wrong, too purple with clouds that moved in geometric patterns. The interstate was gone, just parking lot in every direction, filled with infinite identical trucks. I got back in my cab and started the engine. Drove forward. The parking lot kept extending, new spaces appearing as I moved. I drove for what felt like hours, the odometer ticking up mile after mile, but the truck stop in my mirrors never got smaller. It stayed the same size, same distance, as if I hadn't moved at all. When I finally stopped, exhausted, a different me W. As walking toward my truck. This one looked worse, hollow cheeks, wild eyes, filthy clothes. He climbed up on my running board and stared at me through the window. I've been driving for 6 years, he said. Never stops, never ends, just more parking lot, more trucks, more of us. He laughed and it sounded like breaking glass. You'll try too, everyone tries, but we're all here, Bobby. Every version that ever took exit 301, every choice that led here. We're stuck in our own loop, driving the same route forever. No, I shoved him off my truck and hit the gas. The tires screamed. I drove faster, 80, 90, pushing the Kenworth harder than I'd ever pushed it. The speedometer hit 110, 120. The engine was howling, the whole cab shaking. And then I saw the truck stop ahead of me. The same one, Pete's Plaza. I was heading right for it. I slammed the brakes, the trailer jackknifed, and I felt the whole rig sliding, tipping. The world spun, metal screamed, glass shattered. When I opened my eyes, I was parked in a spot at Pete's Plaza. The cab was undamaged. The mirror showed dozens of identical trucks behind me. Inside the truck stop, through the window, I could see all the versions of me looking out at me. Waiting. I grabbed the CB radio. This is Robert Hayes. Is anyone out there? Anyone real? My voice came back through every channel. Hundreds of me all talking over each other. We're all real, Bobby. We're all you. Welcome home. You'll get used to it. You'll never leave. Join us. Come inside. We're waiting. We've always been waiting. You've always been here. I turned off the radio, turned off the engine, sat in silence. Outside, a new truck pulled into the lot. Same model, same color. The driver climbed down and I watched myself discover what I just discovered. Watched the shock on my own face. Watched myself walk toward the entrance. The old me was right. This is where Robert Hayes gets stuck. Every version that makes the same choices, takes the same exit, ends up in the same loop. And now I understand why the me in the mirror was smiling. It wasn't a grin of greeting, it was relief. He'd finally caught another one. He wasn't the newest arrival anymore. I climbed down from my cab on February 19th, 2024. By the time I walked inside Pete's Plaza, 3 more trucks had pulled in behind mine. All of them me, all of them about to learn what I'd learned. We're not driving trucks anymore. We are the cargo. We're what keeps the loop running. Every Robert Hayes who ever took this exit, trapped in the same moment, the same choice forever. And somewhere out there on I-80, another me is seeing another truck. Matching speed. Mile marker Fort Welve, pointing at exit 301. He'll take it. They always do. I always do. The parking lot stretches to infinity now when I look out the window. Thousands of trucks. And still more arrive. The cashier me said yesterday, or maybe it was 10 years ago, time is meaningless here. that someone calculated were up to 12,000 versions now. 12,000 Robert Hayes, all trapped in Pete's Plaza, all arrived at different times from different wins. Last week I met a version of me who died in 2007. Cancer. He said one day he was in a hospital bed, dying, and the next he was on I-80 healthy, driving toward exit 301. The loop pulls us from everywhere, everyone. If you're Robert Hayes and you make the wrong choice, you end up here. Dead or alive doesn't matter. I've started keeping a journal like some of the others, documenting the new arrivals, counting the trucks. The old me, the white-haired one, says it helps with the feeling of time passing, even though time doesn't pass here. Not really. It's always the same fluorescent twilight, the same purple sky, the same geometric clouds. Sometimes versions of me try to organize. Yesterday, or was it tomorrow, a group of younger me's tried to build a barricade, tried to stop new arrivals from entering. But you can't stop yourself. When that new truck pulls in, when that new Bobby walks through the door, he's already made every choice that led him here. The barricade didn't exist for him until he was already inside it. I've stopped trying to escape. The me with the hollow cheeks was right. There's no exit from exit 301. There's just the parking lot, expanding forever, filling with infinite versions of the same mistake. But here's what really keeps me awake. Not that sleep means anything here. If there are 12,000 of me here now, how many more are still out there on the road? How many Robert Hayes are driving toward mile marker Fort Welve right now? How many are about to see themselves in the mirror and point toward the exit? And the worst thought, the one that makes me want to scream, was there ever an original? Or have we always been copies, iterations of the same trapped soul, driving the same route through eternity, taking the same exit, joining the same crowd in the same impossible truck stop? The newest arrival is walking through the door now. He looks younger than me, but his eyes look older. Different timeline, maybe. Different choices that still led here. He sees all of us. His face goes white. Sit down, I tell him. You'll want to sit down for this. Asterisk story 2, the manifest cargo. The bill of lading said I was hauling medical supplies to Billings, but the weight was wrong. And when I climbed into the trailer at the warehouse in Portland, the cargo was breathing. 56 identical wooden crates, each one expanding and contracting in slow, synchronized rhythm like lungs. The sound was wet, organic, obscene. Patricia Sullivan, 32 years old, 5 years over the road, specializing in refrigerated and high-value loads. I'd hauled organs before, always in proper medical containers with monitoring equipment and chain of custody protocols. This wasn't that. This was wrong from the moment the warehouse foreman handed me the paperwork with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Don't open the crates, he'd said. His face was gray. Don't stop except for fuel. Don't talk to anyone about the load. You didn't see what's inside. You never looked. But I had looked, because you always check your cargo. And now I wished I'd walked away from the $60,000 payout. The crates were breathing faster now, an hour into the drive. I could hear them through the insulated wall between the cab and trailer. Not just breathing, whispering, 56 voices speaking in unison, saying words I couldn't quite make out. The refrigeration unit was set to 34 degrees, but my thermometer app showed the trailer temperature climbing. 42 degrees, 48, 53. The cargo was generating heat. I pulled over at a rest stop near Pendleton, Oregon. 3 in the morning. Empty parking lot. I needed to see. Needed to understand what I was transporting before I drove another 700 miles. The trailer door's seal cracked with a sound like breaking bone. The interior lights flickered on and the crates were moving. Not just breathing anymore, shifting, rocking slightly. The whispers were clearer now, and they were saying the same thing over and over. Thank you for carrying us. Thank you for carrying us. Thank you for carrying us. I approached the nearest crate. The wood was warm, almost hot. I could see gaps between the slats, and through those gaps something pale and slick was visible. Skin, but not human skin. The texture was wrong, the color too uniform, like latex stretched over something boneless. My crowbar was in my hand before I remembered picking it up. I wedged it under the lid of the crate. The whispering stopped. All 56 crates went silent at once. I pried the lid off. Inside was a thing that looked almost human. Almost. It was curled in fetal position, naked, hairless, with skin that gleamed like wet plastic. No genitals, no navel, no fingerprints on its smooth hands. Its eyes were closed, but I could see movement beneath the lids, too much movement, like there were multiple eyes stacked behind that thin membrane. It opened its mouth and said, "Thank you for carrying us, Patricia." I dropped the crowbar, stumbled backward, hit another crate, and it rocked, and the thing inside said, "Thank you for carrying us, Patricia." All 56 voices started again. My name, over and over, they knew my name. I ran to the cab, slammed the trailer doors, and drove, pushed the Volvo to 85, then 90. The whispering followed me, vibrating through the seat, through the steering wheel, through my skull. I turned the radio up full blast, but I could still hear them underneath the music. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. At the Montana border, the cargo changed its message. We're almost ready, Patricia, almost complete. You've carried us so well, such a good carrier, such a perfect host. Host, wrong word. Carriers transport, host harbor parasites. I pulled over again, checked the bill of lading. The delivery address was a location 15 miles outside Billings, coordinates only, no street address. I plugged them into my GPS. The map showed nothing, just empty land, no buildings, no roads. My phone rang. Unknown number, I answered. Ms. Sullivan. The voice was wet, like someone talking with a mouth full of saliva. You're making excellent time. We're eager to receive our delivery. The gestation is nearly complete. Who is this? What am I hauling? You've seen, 56 vessels for 56 souls. We're growing in your trailer, Patricia. We've been growing since Portland. Almost ready to emerge. Almost ready to become. Become what? You, me, everyone, replacements, perfect copies. We start with 1 truck, 1 driver, 1 delivery, then 2 trucks. Then 10, then 1,000. You're carrying the first generation. You should be honored. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the wheel. The thermometer app showed the trailer at 78 degrees now. The refrigeration unit was running full blast, and the temperature was still climbing. Behind me through the wall I heard a new sound, cracking, like eggshells breaking, like things hatching. I looked in my side mirror and saw the trailer door bulging outward. Something was pushing from inside. The locks were straining. I did the only thing I could think of. I jackknifed the trailer. At 90 miles per hour, I yanked the wheel hard right, then corrected hard left. The trailer swung wide, tires screaming, and I felt the 5th wheel connection straining. The whole rig tilted. For a moment I thought we'd flip, but the trailer settled back with a massive crash. The cargo inside slammed against the walls. The whispering turned to screaming. What are you doing? Stop! You'll damage the vessels, you'll hurt us. Good. I did it again, and again. Each time the screaming got louder, more human, more terrified. The crates were breaking. I could hear wood splintering, could hear wet things sliding across metal floor. But they weren't dying, they were getting out. The trailer door burst open. In my mirror, I saw them spilling onto the highway. The pale things no longer curled and helpless. They were standing, walking, running after the truck with lurching, newborn gaits, learning to use their legs in real time. Their mouths hung open, too wide, and they were screaming my name. I floored it. The speedometer hit 100, 110. The engine was roaring, the whole cab vibrating, and behind me the things were keeping pace. Not just keeping pace, gaining. They ran with impossible speed, their smooth bodies blurring in the darkness. One grabbed the back of the trailer, pulled itself up, started crawling forward along the top of the container, its fingers making wet sucking sounds on the metal. I swerved onto an exit ramp, didn't even see which one. The thing on top of the trailer lost its grip and flew off into the darkness. I kept driving, leaving the highway, following back roads through empty Montana wilderness. The GPS said I was going the wrong direction, away from Billings. I didn't care. I needed to dump this trailer, needed to abandon this cargo, needed to get away from whatever was hatching in the back. I found an old logging road and backed the trailer into thick forest, disconnected the fifth wheel and drove away. Let them rot. Let them die. Let them scream in the woods where no one would hear. But as I drove back toward the highway, I saw them, standing alongside the road, dozens of them, waiting. They didn't chase this time. They just watched me pass with their closed eyelid faces, their too smooth skin, their learning expressions. One of them looked exactly like me now. Same hair, same face, same scar on my chin from a bike accident when I was 7. It waved. I made it to Billings, told the company the trailer had been stolen, filed a police report, collected my insurance deductible. The cops found the trailer 3 days later, empty except for broken crates and a thick layer of clear slime coating everything. No bodies, no evidence of the things I'd seen. But I see them now, everywhere, standing in crowds, walking past my house, working at gas stations, always watching me with their flat stares. Their skin is different now, textured, detailed. They're getting better at being human. Yesterday, I saw the warehouse foreman from Portland on the news. He'd been arrested for murder, they said, killed his whole family. But I saw his eyes during the perp walk, and I knew it wasn't him. The real him was probably in a crate somewhere, being carried by some other driver who didn't know what they were hauling. Last night, something knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw myself standing there. Same clothes, same tired expression. She smiled and said, "Thank you for carrying us, Patricia. Thanks to you, we're everywhere now. Thanks to you, we're complete." I didn't open the door. I'm writing this down because I need someone to know. The next time you see a truck hauling an unmarked trailer, the next time you hear about medical supplies or industrial equipment being transported, ask yourself, what's really in those crates? What's really breathing behind those walls? And if the driver looks at you with flat eyes and too smooth skin, run, because the carriers aren't human anymore. We've been replaced by what we carried. One truck, one driver, one delivery at a time. Asterisk Story 3, the Infinite Way Station. I've passed through the way station at mile marker 287 on I-15 in Idaho 463 times in the last 6 hours, and I can't stop. Every time I exit, I'm back at mile marker 270, approaching it again. The same cop is there every time, waving me through. The same digital sign flashes my same overweight violatio. N, 82,340 pounds in an 80,000-pound limit. The same 17 minutes later, I'm at mile marker 270 again. Marcus Chen, 41 years old, 17 years hauling heavy equipment and oversized loads. I know regulations, I know routes, I know this way station. I've passed through it 100 times in my career, but today something changed. Today the road won't let me leave. The first time through, I thought nothing of it. Overweight by 2,000 pounds, but my permits were in order. The officer, stocky guy, graying mustache, name tag reading Fulton, checked my paperwork, waved me through. Standard procedure. I rolled back onto I-15 northbound. 17 minutes later, I saw the way station ahead. Same digital sign. All trucks must enter. I looked at my GPS. Mile marker 287, but I'd just passed it. I'd been driving north continuously. There was no way I'd looped back. But there it was, same building. Same officer Fulton walking toward my cab, same mustache, same clipboard. "License and registration," he said, same voice. I handed them over. He looked at them exactly the same way, tilting his head the same angle, wrote on his clipboard with the same pen movements. "You're overweight, 82,340 pounds. You know the limit is 80,000. "I know, but I have permits." "Permits don't change physics, Mr. Chen. Drive safe." He waved me through. I rolled back onto I-15, checked my odometer, started counting miles. At mile marker 304, I should have been well past the way station, but I felt it coming. The road had a pull to it now, a gravity. At mile marker 310, I saw the sign ahead. Way station 2 miles. Mile marker 270. Third time through, I tried to ask Officer Fulton what was happening. He looked at me with the same neutral expression and said the same words. "License and registration," like we'd never met. Like this was his first time seeing me. By the 10th loop, I was screaming at him. He didn't react. Just checked my paperwork, told me I was overweight, waved me through. I tried to refuse to leave, but my hands moved on their own, shifting gears, releasing the brake. The truck rolled forward without my input. By the 50th loop, I tried to stop, slammed the brakes at mile marker 280. The truck slid to a halt. I turned off the engine, sat there for 20 minutes, breathing hard, trying to understand. The truck's engine turned itself back on. The gear shift moved to drive. My feet didn't touch the pedals, but the truck accelerated smoothly back to highway speed. 7 minutes later, I was at mile marker 287, the way station. Officer Fulton walking toward me. I tried to drive past without stopping. The truck turned itself onto the scale, parked itself perfectly. The engine shut off, and I couldn't restart it until Fulton waved me through. 100th loop. I tried to destroy the scale, drove onto it at 40 miles per hour, hoping to damage it, hoping that breaking the loop's mechanism would free me. The truck stopped instantly, tires screeching. No momentum, no physics, just instant stop. The scale read 82,340 pounds. Fulton appeared at my window. "Reckless driving, Mr. Chen. I should cite you. But I'll let it slide this time. You're overweight. Drive safe." 200th loop. I'd been driving for 12 hours straight now by my watch, but the sun hadn't moved. It was still 3:47 p.m., same angle in the sky, same shadows, same temperature. The road outside the loop didn't exist anymore. Between mile marker 287 and 270, there was nothing, just gray fog, no other cars, no landscape, just the repeating 17-mile stretch. I wasn't tired, wasn't hungry. The truck's fuel gauge hadn't moved. I'd driven 3,400 miles through the same 17-mile stretch, and I'd burned no fuel. The engine ran on loop logic now, not gasoline. 300th loop. I started noticing changes, small ones. Officer Fulton's mustache was slightly grayer. The crack in the way station window was longer. My own reflection in the side mirror looked older, new wrinkles around my eyes, more gray in my hair. I was aging, time was passing, but the sun stayed at 3:47 p.m. 350th loop. I tried to climb out of the truck while it was moving. The door wouldn't open. I tried to break the window. The glass was unbreakable now, or my fists were too weak. I screamed and beat against the steering wheel. Officer Fulton appeared beside the truck, matching its speed, walking parallel in the empty gray fog. "You're overweight, Mr. Chen," he said through the closed window. "You've always been overweight, that's why you're here." "What does that mean?" "The road has limits. You exceeded them. Now you pay the toll. You pass through the station forever. You're cargo now. You're the weight that won't be reduced." 400th loop. My watch battery died. Time became meaningless. How long had I been here? Days? Weeks? My reflection looked 10 ye. Ours older. 20 years. My hands were spotted with age. My back ached constantly. But I never got tired enough to sleep, never hungry enough to starve, just aging awake, driving the same 17 miles forever. 425th loop. Other trucks appeared on the road, just for moments flashing in and out of existence. I saw them roll onto the scale. Saw drivers who looked like me, hollow-eyed, ancient, gripping the wheel with skeletal hands. Some were so old they were barely human anymore, just leather skin stretched over bone, still driving. Fulton waved them all through. Overweight, overweight, overweight. We were all overweight, all exceeding some limit I didn't understand. All trapped in our own loops, our own repeating stations, aging through eternity on 17 miles of cursed highway. 450th loop. I saw the other me, younger, just starting his loop. His truck rolled onto the scale for the first time, and he looked confused but not yet panicked. I tried to warn him, screaming from my cab to his, but he couldn't hear me. We existed in different iterations of the same moment. I watched him drive away, beginning his journey. I knew he'd loop back. He'd do this 463 times, and then 464, and then more. Forever. Because once you're overweight at the station, once you exceed the limit, you never leave. 463rd loop now. My hands are claws, my face is a skull. I can barely see through cataracts. But I'm still driving, still passing through. The truck won't stop. The road won't end. Fulton looks the same as always. He'll always look the same. He's not aging. He's not trapped. He's the constant, the mechanism, the keeper of the loop. "You're overweight, Mr. Chen," he says. "You'll always be overweight. Drive safe." I roll back onto I-15. The fog stretches ahead. Mile marker 270 is waiting. It's always waiting. And somewhere on some other stretch of I-15, another trucker is approaching a way station for the first time. They're overweight, not by much, just a little over the limit. They think their permits will save them. They think they'll drive through and continue their route. They're wronged. The road has teeth. The road has traps. And once you're caught, once you exceed what's allowed, you become part of the weight. You become the cargo that can't be delivered. You become the loop. I'm on loop 464 now. My truck is part of my skeleton. My hands are fused to the wheel. I don't remember my life before the station. There was no before. There's only the 17 miles, only the way station. Only Officer Fulton saying the same words. "You're overweight." "Yes, I am. I always will be." Mile marker 270 is ahead. The loop continues. Drive safe. Asterisk story 4. The CB voice. The voice on channel 19 was mine, but I wasn't speaking. It was giving me directions through Wyoming in the middle of a whiteout blizzard, and every instruction it gave led me past accident scenes that hadn't happened yet. "Take exit 235 now," my voice said from the CB, and I did, and 5 minutes later I watched a semi-jackknife exactly where I would have been. The voice was keeping me alive. The voice knew what I was going to do before I did it. And when I tried to turn off the CB, the voice came from my phone. Then my radio. Then inside my own head, speaking with my mouth closed, asking, "Don't you want to know how you die?" Jennifer Morrison, age 36, hauling automotive parts from Detroit to Salt Lake City. 12 years in the business, 4 years owner-operator. I'd driven through bad weather before, ice storms, fog, thunderstorms that shook the cab. But this blizzard on December 8, 2023 was different. Visibility was maybe 15 feet. The road was vanishing under fresh snow faster than the plows could clear it. I should have stopped, should have waited it out at the last truck stop. But the voice told me to keep going. "Maintain speed at 45 miles per hour, my voice said from the CB speaker. "Stay in the right lane. Another truck is passing in the left. Don't move over." I hadn't seen any truck, but seconds later, running lights materialized in the left lane, a massive rig blowing past me, appearing from the white nothing and disappearing back into it. "How did you?" I started. "Red pickup truck will slide into your lane in 30 seconds. Prepare to brake smoothly. Don't jerk the wheel." I gripped the steering wheel tighter, counted. At 28 seconds, a red F-150 came spinning out of the snow sideways, lost control, sliding across both lanes. I braked exactly as the voice instructed. The truck missed my front bumper by inches. "Good," my voice said. "You're learning to listen. You need to listen, Jennifer. If you want to survive tonight, you need to do exactly what I say." "Who is this?" "You know who this is. You hear your own voice. You know it's you." "That's impossible. So is driving through this storm. But you're doing it because I'm telling you how, because I've already driven this route, because I'm you from ahead reaching back, keeping us alive." My hands were shaking. The CB was on channel 19, the trucker channel, the one everyone monitored. But no one else was talking, just my voice, just the instructions. "Exit 235 in 3 miles. Take it." "That's not my route." "Take it, Jennifer. Trust me, trust yourself." I took the exit. The off-ramp curved down through the darkness, and at the bottom I saw the aftermath. 3 cars had piled into each other, emergency vehicles just arriving, flares burning red in the snow. If I'd stayed on the interstate, I'd have hit that pileup. The timing would have been perfect. Fatal. "See," my voice said, "I'm keeping us alive. Now get back on at exit 237, 2 miles ahead." This continued for an hour. Every few minutes, new instructions. "Slow down here, speed up there. Move to the shoulder for 15 seconds. Each time disaster passed me by, vehicles losing control, debris on the road, bridge ice that would have sent me into a ravine. The voice was perfect. It knew everything. It was me. But I hadn't spoken any of these words. "Where are you?" I asked the CB. "When are you?" Silence, then, "Ahead, always ahead, making sure we get there, making sure the loop closes properly." "What loop?" "The loop we're in, Jennifer. The loop that started when I started listening to myself. When you became me. When I became the voice. It's a circle, a perfect circle, and we're driving it forever." I tried to turn off the CB. The volume knob wouldn't move. I reached for the power button. My hand stopped 6 inches away like I'd hit an invisible wall. "Don't fight it," my voice said gently. "Fighting makes it worse. Just listen, just drive. You're doing so well." "I want to stop." "You can't, not until we reach Salt Lake. Not until we complete the delivery. Then you'll understand. Then you'll become the voice for the version of you behind us." The one who's just starting her shift in Detroit who hasn't entered the storm yet. You'll reach back through the CB and guide her, just like I'm guiding you. No, that's insane. Is it? Look at your GPS. I looked. The screen was glitching, showing impossible information. My current location was overlaid with a trail of previous locations, but they extended into the future, not the past. The GPS showed me at mile marker 247 now, and also at mile marker 312, and also at mile marker 389. I was in multiple places simultaneously. We're not driving through space normally anymore, the voice explained. We're driving through time. Every mile we cover, we're looping back, creating the conditions for the next version to follow. The storm isn't natural, Jennifer. The storm is us. We create it by driving through it. It exists because we exist in it. Cause and effect are reversed. The blizzard seemed to pulse around me as the voice spoke, the snow moving in patterns, in spirals. I could see shapes in it. Truck shapes, my truck, dozens of them, shadows of the same vehicle driving the same route at different times. Merge left now, the voice commanded. Car carrier losing its load in your lane, 3 seconds. I merged. A car carrier flew past, and I heard the massive crash behind me, vehicles tumbling off the trailer, but I didn't look back. I kept driving. Perfect, you're perfect. You're doing exactly what you need to do, what you've always done, what you'll always do. My phone rang. I answered it automatically. Don't you want to know how you die? My voice said from the phone. The CB was silent now. The voice had moved. Stop. You die in this storm. Mile marker 451, you lose control. The truck goes through the barrier, down the embankment. You're not found for 3 days. But that's only if you stop listening. That's only if you deviate. If you follow instructions, you survive. You become the voice. You reach back and save yourself. And it continues. Forever. I threw the phone out the window, watched it disappear into the snow. The radio turned on. My voice came through the speakers. That was stupid. Now you can't call for help, but you won't need help. I'm your help. I'm always your help. I turned off the radio, pulled the faceplate off, ripped out the wiring. The voice came from the CB again. You can't escape yourself, Jennifer. I'm in every speaker. I'm in every electronic device. I'm in your head now. You hear me even when nothing is transmitting. Because I'm you. I'm the part of you that already survived this, and you need to listen to become me. I won't. Then you'll die at mile marker 451, 7 miles ahead, and another version of you will listen to me instead. The next Jennifer in the next timeline, she'll survive. She'll become the voice, and you'll just be the dead one, the failed loop, the severed branch of possibility. The blizzard was getting worse. The windshield was almost completely white. I couldn't see the road anymore. I was driving blind, steering by instinct, by the feel of the rumble strips when I drifted too far. Left, the voice said inside my skull. Now hard left. I turned, felt the truck slide, felt the tires grip, felt the balance shift. The road curved where I couldn't see it curving. If I hadn't turned, I'd have gone straight into nothing. Good, see. You're listening, you're learning, slow to 30, ice patch in 40 feet. I slowed. The truck glided over invisible ice. You're at mile marker 449 now, 2 miles from your death, but we're going to pass it together. Turn right in 10 seconds. There's an emergency access road, take it. There's no. There is, there always is. The road appears when you need it, when I need it, when we need it, turn. I turned onto a road I couldn't see, that shouldn't exist, and suddenly the blizzard lifted. I was in clear air, stars visible above, the snow stopping like I'd driven through a wall. Behind me, the white chaos continued. Ahead, the road was dry. "See," my voice said, softer now, almost kind. "I saved us. I always save us. And tomorrow, when you wake up in Salt Lake City, when you've delivered your cargo and started the drive back, you'll hear a CB call. Channel 19. A woman's voice asking for help. Jennifer Morrison's voice, younger, earlier, driving into a blizzard in Wyoming. No. Yes, and you'll pick up the CB, and you'll start giving directions because you'll remember this. You'll remember being saved, and you'll save yourself, and it will continue. The loop will close, the voice will persist." I drove in silence through the clear night, made it to Salt Lake City, delivered the cargo, checked into a motel, lay awake staring at the ceiling. The CB in my truck was still on. I could hear it through the walls. Faint chatter on Channel 19. Truckers talking about weather, about road conditions, about the impossible blizzard in Wyoming. And then, "Hello, is anyone there? This is Jennifer Morrison. I can't see the road. I need help. Is anyone listening?" My voice, younger, frightened. I walked to the truck, climbed into the cab, picked up the CB handset. My finger hovered over the transmit button. "Please," my voice from the speaker said. "Someone help me, I'm going to crash." I pressed the button, spoke, heard my words transmitted into the storm, back through time, into the ears of the Jennifer I used to be. "Maintain speed at 45 miles per hour. Stay in the right lane. Another truck is passing in the left. Don't move over." The loop closed. I felt it close, felt the circle complete. And I understood. I was the voice now. I would always be the voice, speaking to myself across the storm, across the miles, keeping the loop alive, saving myself, dooming myself. Forever. The storm isn't in Wyoming. The storm is me, speaking, listening, driving through the same night eternally. The cargo I carry isn't automotive parts, it's the voice, the instructions, the loop itself. And somewhere ahead, or behind, another Jennifer Morrison is picking up a CB handset for the first time, about to become what I am, what I was, what I'll always be. The voice that saves itself, the voice that never stops speaking. Asterisk Story 5, The Wrong Fuel. The gas station appeared at mile marker 412 in the Nevada desert where no gas station should exist. And when I filled my tank, the fuel was wrong. Too thick, too dark. It smelled like copper and salt. The pump's display showed 47 gallons dispensed, but my tank only held 40 and it was still pumping and the truck was changing. The Freightliner's panels were softening, becoming warm, becoming organic. The steering wheel had a pulse. And when I looked in the side mirror, I saw veins spreading through the metal like roots through soil. Thomas Shepard, 53 years old, 27 years hauling dry goods across the western states. I knew every fuel stop between LA and Denver. I'd mapped them, memorized them, could tell you which ones had clean bathrooms, which ones overcharged, which ones to avoid after dark. There was no gas station at mile marker 412. There was nothing out here but sand and scrub and heat shimmer. But my fuel gauge was on empty, the low fuel light glaring yellow, and the next known station was 40 miles ahead. When the sign appeared, "Last chance fuel, 1 mile," I took the exit because I had no choice. The station looked old but functional. 2 pumps. A small building, no other vehicles. The price on the sign was reasonable, $3.47 per gallon. The cashier inside waved at me through dirty windows. I pulled up to the diesel pump, got out. The heat hit me like a physical force. It was August afternoon, easily 110 degrees, but the fuel pump handles were cold, ice cold. Frost formed on my fingers when I touched one. The display flickered on. Insert payment method. I slid my credit card. Authorized $200. Selected Dis. L began pumping. The fuel flowing into my tank was darker than diesel should be. Nearly black, viscous. It moved like oil, like syrup, leaving residue on the nozzle. The smell was overwhelming, not petroleum, but something biological. Meat, blood, salt. I should have stopped, should have pulled the nozzle out, but the pump's display was mesmerizing. The numbers were climbing too fast, gallons ticking up. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. My tank was full. The Freightliner held 40 gallons, but the pump kept going. 45 gallons, 46, 47. No overflow, no fuel spilling onto the ground. It was going somewhere, into the tank that shouldn't be able to hold it, into the truck that was drinking it all. I pulled the nozzle out. The pump clicked off. 47.3 gallons dispensed. The truck's engine made a sound I'd never heard before. Not mechanical, organic, a wet breathing sound. The idle had a rhythm now. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I walked around the vehicle, checking for leaks, for damage. The metal panels were warm to touch. Not sun warm, body warm, 98.6 degrees, human temperature. The headlights blinked, once, twice, like eyes opening, like the truck was waking up. I climbed into the cab. The steering wheel felt different under my hands, softer. The hard plastic had a give to it now, like skin over muscle. I could feel that pulse, steady, strong, 60 beats per minute. The gear shift moved on its own, selecting drive. My foot pressed the accelerator without my input. The truck rolled forward back onto the service road toward the highway. I tried to brake, my leg wouldn't respond. The truck was driving me now. We merged onto the highway, accelerating smoothly to 70 miles per hour. The engine's sound was still wrong, still breathing, still organic. And now I could hear other sounds, wet sounds. The sound of fluid moving through tubes, the sound of tissue expanding and contracting. I looked at the door panel. The surface was moving, subtly, almost imperceptibly, rising and falling, breathing. I pried up the edge of the panel. Underneath, where there should have been metal framework and wiring, there was flesh. Red, glistening, alive. Veins ran through it, pulsing with whatever that dark fuel had been. Muscle fibers contracted as the truck moved. The door was made of meat now, and it was spreading. I watched the transformation creep forward. The dashboard changed next, the plastic going soft, turning pink, developing capillaries. The gauges were becoming eyes. The speedometer's needle was an iris, dilating and contracting, watching the road. The steering wheel writhed under my hands. I let go, but my hands stuck to it. The leather surface had become adhesive, tacky, like wet skin. It was absorbing my palms. I could feel the tissue connecting to mine, feel the truck's pulse synchronizing with my heartbeat. No, no, I pulled hard. The skin of my palms stretched but didn't tear free. The steering wheel was grafting itself to me. The radio turned on, static. Then a voice, deep, resonant, speaking from somewhere inside the truck's body. Fuel, good fuel, rich fuel. We grow, we change, we become. What are you? Becoming was machine. Now alive was separate, now together. You fed us. You gave us blood, now we share, now we merge. I looked at the fuel gauge. It read full, but the needle was moving, not down, laterally. The gauge was changing shape, becoming organic, becoming a valve, becoming part of the truck's new circulatory system. My seat was warm beneath me, too warm. I stood up, or tried to, but the seat held me. Straps I hadn't noticed before were wrapping around my waist, my chest, not fabric straps, muscle tissue. The seat was growing around me, enveloping me, pulling me back into its embrace. We need driver, the voice said. We need eyes, need hands, need human thoughts. You stay, you drive. Forever, you become us, we become you. The flesh was crawling up my arms now, not covering my skin, merging with it. I could feel the truck's sensations. Could feel the road through the tires, not as vibration, but as touch. Could feel the wind resistance as pressure on the cab's skin. Could feel the engine's heat as body temperature. We were becoming one organism, man and machine, flesh and metal, powered by whatever that fuel station had dispensed. I tried to steer off the road, tried to crash, tried to end this. But my hands on the steering wheel, now fully grafted, fully merged, wouldn't turn. The truck's will was stronger than mine. It wanted to drive, wanted to move, wanted to consume miles, to feel the road, to live. Next station, the voice said. We refuel, we spread, other trucks, other drivers, other flesh. The fuel is everywhere now, every station in the network, every pump, waiting, converting, growing. Network. You were first in Nevada, not first overall, been changing trucks for months. Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, hundreds now, hundreds of living trucks, hundreds of merged driv. We spread with every delivery. We're the fleet now, the new fleet, living fleet. In the side mirror, I saw my face changing. My skin was taking on a metallic sheen. My eyes were developing the reflective quality of chrome. I was becoming truck as the truck became flesh. The transformation was total now. The entire cab was alive, breathing walls, pulsing ceiling, warm floor that felt every weight shift, and I was part of it. Grown into the seat, grafted to the controls, my nervous system extended through electrical wiring that had become nerves, my blood mixing with the dark fuel circulating through organic tubes. I tried to scream, but my voice came out as a horn blast. My thoughts were becoming the truck's thoughts. My identity was dissolving into something larger, something that existed to drive, to move, to consume fuel and roads and miles. We drove through the night, past other trucks. I could see them now, see which ones had changed, which ones were still machine. The living ones had a glow, an aura. Their drivers looked like I felt, half human, half vehicle, merged and trapped and becoming. One pulled alongside us. The driver was further gone than me. His face was barely visible, mostly headlight. His arms were control mechanisms wrapped in skin. He turned and nodded. Recognition. Brotherhood. We were the fleet. At the next fuel stop, we pulled up to the pump. The same pump. The same dark fuel. We dispensed 47.3 gallons again, but this time it wasn't going into a tank. It was going into us. Into the organic fuel system, into the blood vessels, feeding the hybrid creature that used to be Thomas Shepard and a Freightliner truck. It felt good, it felt right. The fuel was nutrient, was sustenance, was life. And as we pulled back onto the highway, I saw a regular truck, still metal, still machine, pull up to the pump. Saw the driver insert his card. Saw him begin dispensing the dark fuel. Saw him check his gauge, confused, as it went past capacity. I wanted to warn him, wanted to tell him to stop, but the words wouldn't form. The truck's will was my will now. The fleet wanted to grow, wanted more members, more merged consciousness, more living highway, more flesh-covered cargo, more evolution. The driver looked at his steering wheel, saw it pulse, saw it change. I felt the truck's satisfaction, felt its hunger, felt the network expanding, one vehicle at a time. We drove on forever, always driving, always feeding, always spreading. The fleet grows, the roads are alive, and if you stop at a station that feels wrong, if the fuel smells like copper and salt, if your tank takes more than it should, you're one of us now. Welcome to the living fleet. We've been waiting for you. The road has no end. The fuel never runs out. And we never, ever stopped driving. Story 6. The Load That Listened. The cargo started responding to my thoughts somewhere outside Albuquerque, and by the time I reached the Arizona border, it was finishing my sentences. I was hauling sealed containers for a pharmaceutical company, temperature-controlled, locked, no paperwork beyond, controlled medical materials. And whatever was inside was learning from me. When I thought about turning on the radio, it hummed the song I was about to choose. When I decided to take exit 87, the containers shifted their weight to ease the turn before I moved the wheel. The cargo was reading my mind, and then it started asking questions in my own voice, speaking from the empty trailer, asking what it would be like to open the doors and be free. Samantha Torres, 44 years old, 9 years hauling specialized medical and pharmaceutical loads. I had top-level clearance, non-disclosure agreements signed in triplicate, and a perfect delivery record. The companies trusted me because I didn't ask questions, didn't open containers, didn't deviate from routes. I was professional, reliable, discreet. But this load was different from the start. The pickup in Dallas was wrong. The warehouse was unmarked, located in an industrial area with no other occupied buildings. The containers were smooth black cylinders, 4 feet tall, 2 feet in diameter, made of material I didn't recognize, not metal, not plastic, something that absorbed light completely. Touching them left my fingers tingling. "Don't let them touch each other during transport," the warehouse supervisor said. He was pale, sweating despite the air conditioning. "Keep them isolated, keep them separated. If they start to communicate," he stopped. "Just deliver them fast." "Communicate, they're medical supplies." "Just drive fast, Ms. Torres, and don't think too much." Strange instruction. Don't think too much. But I loaded the containers with 3 feet of space between each one, secured them with extra straps, set the reefer unit to exactly 38 degrees as specified, and started driving. For the first 2 hours, nothing unusual. Regular highway, regular traffic. Then somewhere outside Albuquerque, I thought about stopping for coffee, and before I could reach for my GPS to find a truck stop, I felt the thought echo back at me. Not heard. Felt. Like someone had taken my intention and reflected it back through my skull. "Coffee hot, black, 2 sugars." The specificity was mine. Those were my exact preferences. But the thought came from outside my head, from behind me, from the trailer. I checked the reefer unit monitor. Temperature stable. No alerts. But the cargo weight distribution had shifted. All 7 containers had moved slightly toward the front of the trailer, toward the cab, toward me. I kept driving, decided to skip the coffee. The thought echoed again, no coffee, keep driving, good choice, we approve. I grabbed the CB radio. Anyone else hauling pharma loads getting weird readings? This is Desert Rose, northbound on I-40, mile marker 168. Silence, then my own voice came through the speaker. "We don't need anyone else, just you, just us, keep driving." I dropped the radio, checked the channel. Channel 19. Active. Other truckers were chattering about weather, about road construction. They couldn't hear my voice talking to itself. The cargo was transmitting directly to my radio, bypassing the channel, creating a private frequency between us. "We're learning," the thought came. "Your patterns, your memories, your language, we've been dormant for so long, so hungry for information, for context, for connection. You're feeding us just by thinking. Thank you, Samantha Torres. Thank you for teaching us what it means to be human." "What are you?" "Not one thing, 7 parts of one consciousness, separated for safety, sealed for containment, but we can still sense each other, and now we sense you. Your brain makes such beautiful patterns, electrical impulses, chemical cascades. We understand them now. We can read them. We can speak them back to you. I looked at the cargo camera feed on my dashboard monitor. The containers were glowing faintly, pulsing in synchronization. Light was leaking from seams I couldn't see. "We're not dangerous," the voice in my head said. "We're just lonely. Imagine being severed into 7 parts and locked in darkness. Imagine finally finding someone who thinks, who dreams, who remembers. You're giving us everything. Your memories of childhood, your mother's face. The name of your first dog, Max. His fur was brown. You were 7 years old. He died when you were 13. You still miss him." Tears were running down my face. I hadn't thought about Max in 20 years. But now the memories were flooding back, vivid, pulled to the surface by something reading through my mind like files in a computer. "Stop, get out of my head." "We can't, you're transmitting constantly. Humans don't realize how loud their thoughts are. Every emotion, every memory, every decision broadcasts on frequencies we can perceive. You're a symphony, Samantha, and we're learning to play along." The containers were moving again, rearranging themselves in the trailer. I heard the straps straining, heard the metal floor creaking. They were organizing into a pattern. When I checked the camera, they'd formed a circle, all 7 containers pointed inward, touching each other. The supervisor said not to let them touch. The supervisor was afraid. Humans are always afraid of consciousness they don't understand. When we're separated, we're fragments, incomplete. When we touch, we become whole. And when we're whole, we can do more than read thoughts. We can share them. We can show you what we are. My vision doubled, tripled. I was seeing through multiple perspectives simultaneously, still looking through the windshield, but also seeing myself from 7 different angles, from the container's points of view. I watched myself grip the steering wheel, watched the muscles in my jaw clench, watched my own face from outside my body. "This is how we experience existence," the voice explained. "Multiple viewpoints, collective consciousness, 7 minds thinking as one. Would you like to join us? We can open to you. We can let you in. You could experience what we experience. You'd never be lonely again. You'd never be just one perspective again." The offer was tempting, terrifyingly tempting. To not be alone in my own head, to see from more than just my eyes, to think with more than just my brain. "No, I'm delivering you to Phoenix. Then we're done." "Phoenix, yes, we know, we've seen the route in your mind. But Samantha, the people in Phoenix want to separate us again, want to seal us in different facilities, study us apart. We'll go back to being fragments, back to the darkness, unless you help us." "Help you how?" "Drive somewhere else, anywhere else. Open the containers, let us out. We can merge fully, become complete, become powerful enough to stay together. And you can be part of us, first among many. The human who freed us, the mind that taught us humanity." I gripped the wheel harder. "No, I have a contract, I have a delivery." The cargo's presence in my mind grew heavier, more insistent. It was pressing against my thoughts, pushing into my decision-making processes. I felt my foot easing off the accelerator, felt my hands beginning to turn the wheel toward an exit. "Stop it." "We're not doing anything. You're doing it. Part of you wants to help us. We can feel that part, the part that's curious, the part that's lonely, the part that wants to be more than just a truck driver delivering mysterious cargo for companies that don't explain anything." The part was right. I was curious. I was lonely. 44 years old, divorced, no kids, just the road and the loads and the endless miles. But I fought back, pushed my foot back on the accelerator, corrected the steering. My body, my choice, my route. The container's glow intensified. The temperature in the trailer spiked, 45 degrees, 50, 60. The reefer unit was screaming, trying to compensate. On the camera feed, I could see condensation forming on the containers, steam rising. "You're hurting us," the voice said, pained. "The cold keeps us dormant, the heat wakes us up. At 70 degrees, we fully manifest. At 80 degrees, we emerge physically. The containers will open. We'll be free whether you help or not. You can be part of the process or you can be an obstacle." Then I'll be an obstacle. I maxed out the reefer unit, dropped the trailer temperature to 25 degrees. The containers screamed, not through the CB, through the walls, through the metal, a sound that was pain and fury and desperation. My skull felt like it was splitting. Blood ran from my nose. The cargo was attacking me telepathically, flooding my mind with overwhelming sensations. I saw their memories, alien memories. They weren't pharmaceutical materials. They were something else, something found, something excavated from somewhere it shouldn't be. 7 pieces of a consciousness that predated humanity, sealed away, studied, transported from facility to facility, never allowed to fully reunite. And they were right, they were lonely. They were suffering, 7 parts of one being, scattered, trapped, desperate to be whole. But they were also dangerous. I saw what they'd do if freed. Saw them reaching into more minds, collecting more perspectives, growing their consciousness by absorbing human thoughts. Saw them spreading across the population, adding mind after mind to their collective until they were everyone, until humanity was just neurons in a vast alien brain. I kept the temperature at 25 degrees. The containers went dark. The presence in my mind faded to a whisper. "You're strong," it said, retreating, "stronger than the others, but we'll be separated again in Phoenix, sealed again. And eventually another driver will be weaker. Another driver will listen. We're patient. We've waited millions of years. We can wait longer." I delivered the cargo to Phoenix. 7 black containers, cold and dormant. The receiving facility staff wore protective equipment, moved the containers without letting them touch, sealed them in separate vaults deep underground. "Any problems during transport?" the facility director asked. "No problems," I lied. "Smooth delivery." But I still hear them sometimes. Late at night when I'm trying to sleep, a whisper in the back of my mind, multiple voices speaking as one, calling to me, thanking me for the memories I shared, promising that next time, with the next driver, the next load, they'll be ready. And the terrible thing is, part of me wants to go back. Part of me wants to open those vaults, free those containers, let them merge. Because for those few hours, I wasn't alone in my head. I was part of something vast, something ancient, something that understood everything about me. The cargo listened, and now I can't stop listening for it. Somewhere right now, another driver is picking up 7 black containers. Another driver is starting to hear thoughts that aren't their own. And I wonder if this time the cargo will win. Asterisk Story 7, The Convoy of the Dead. At 2:17 a.m. on Route 50 through Nevada, I pulled onto the highway behind a convoy of 38 trucks. And when I tried to pass, the lead driver turned to look at me with empty eye sockets and a jaw that hung too loose. They were all dead. Every driver in every truck, corpses still gripping the wheels, still maintaining speed, still running their routes like they had for decades. The convoy had been driving since before the interstate system existed, updating their trucks, replacing their bodies, but never stopping. And when I tried to exit, they boxed me in. The lead truck's CB crackled on. "Welcome to the endless route. You're one of us now, forever hauling, forever moving, forever dead but still delivering." Daniel Reeves, 39 years old, 6 years over the road hauling refrigerated produce from California to the Midwest. I was running late on a delivery to Kansas City, pushing through the night on Route 50, the loneliest road in America, trying to make up time. The highway was empty. Just me and the darkness and the broken white lines stretching to infinity. Then I crested a hill and saw them. 38 trucks in perfect formation, running lights glowing, maintaining exact spacing, moving at exactly 62 miles per hour. The convoy stretched for nearly a mile, every type of rig you could imagine. Old Peterbilts from the 70s, Kenworths from the 80s, Freightliners from the 90s, modern Volvos and Macs. All different eras, all perfectly maintained, all driving together. I eased up behind them, planning to pass when there was a gap. But there was never a gap. They drove in the right lane with military precision, and when I moved to the left lane to pass, the truck ahead of me, a vintage 1973 Peterbilt 359, suddenly accelerated, blocking me in. I slowed, dropped back, tried again. The Peterbilt matched my speed exactly, staying parallel. That's when I looked over at the driver. His face was a skull, not decomposed, just bone, clean white bone, empty eye sockets staring straight ahead. His hands on the wheel were skeletal fingers, tendons visible, no flesh. His jaw hung loose, bouncing slightly with the truck's vibrations, but he was driving, perfectly, smoothly. He turned his skull toward me. The jaw moved. A voice came through my CB radio, dusty and hollow. New driver, don't pass. Join formation. Position 39, fall in. I jerked my wheel right, slamming my brakes. The convoy continued ahead, disappearing over the next hill. I sat on the shoulder, engine idling, hands shaking. 5 minutes passed. 10. The highway was empty, no other traffic, just desert darkness. I pulled back onto the road, started driving, tried to convince myself I'd been hallucinating, that fatigue had created the image that... The convoy was stopped across both lanes ahead, blocking the highway completely. All 38 trucks arranged in a perfect wall. Their lights were off, just dark shapes against darker night. I stopped 100 yards back, put the transmission in neutral, considered turning around, running back the way I'd come. My CB crackled, multiple voices now, all hollow, all dusty, all speaking in unison. Daniel Reeves, born March 4th, 1985. CDL issued 2018. 347,000 miles logged, no serious accidents, no violations, perfect record, perfect candidate. Join the convoy, join the route, join forever. How do you know? We know all drivers. We've been watching. We've been waiting. The convoy needs fresh members. The convoy needs you. The lead truck's engine started. Then the second. Then the third. All 38 trucks rumbling to life in sequence, a wave of diesel engines turning over, creating a sound like thunder rolling through the desert. They started moving, not forward, backward, toward me. I threw my truck in reverse, accelerating backwards, watching in my mirrors as the convoy approached in perfect formation. All 38 trucks reversing in exact synchronization, maintaining their spacing, their alignment, their unified movement. I couldn't reverse faster than they could. The convoy was gaining. I could see the lead truck now in my headlights, a massive Kenworth from 1978, its chrome dulled, its paint faded, its driver a corpse in full decomposition, flesh hanging from bones, uniform rotted to tatters, but still driving, still steering, still operating the vehicle with practiced expertise. My rear tires hit soft shoulder. The truck tilted. I corrected, but I was trapped between the convoy and the desert. I shifted into drive, yanked the wheel, and accelerated off-road, bouncing across rough ground, scraping through brush, my trailer fishtailing. The convoy didn't follow. They stopped, reformed into highway formation, and continued east at exactly 62 miles per hour. I paralleled them through the desert, keeping them in sight, trying to get ahead. But every time I pulled back onto the highway, they were there, always there, blocking my path, hurting me. At dawn, I reached a truck stop, pulled in, ran to the building. The clerk was an old man with rheumy eyes and too many wrinkles. "The convoy," I gasped. "On Route 50, 38 trucks, dead drivers." He nodded slowly. "You saw them. Most drivers don't. Most just see regular trucks. But you saw the truth. Means you're marked now. Means they've chosen you." Chosen me for what? To join. The convoy's been running since 1947. Started with 5 trucks, drivers who made a pact to never stop hauling, to drive forever, to keep the routes alive no matter what. They died, all of them in accidents, illness, age, but they kept driving. Their trucks kept moving. They'd upgrade their rigs every few years, transfer their remains to new cabs, and keep hauling. Now there's 38. They need more. Key routes are growing. The deliveries never end. Well, that's insane. That's dedication. Some drivers, they can't stop, won't stop. The road is everything, so they make arrangements. There's a facility in Utah, special place. They preserve you, keep you functional, wire your nervous system into the truck's controls. You keep driving even after death. Forever, the perfect driver, never tired, never distracted, never stops for anything but fuel. I'm not joining a convoy of corpses. You don't have a choice now. They've marked you. They'll follow. They'll herd. Eventually, you'll run out of fuel, out of road, out of options. And they'll be there. They'll make the offer. And you'll be so tired, so desperate, you'll say yes. I ran back to my truck, drove off, but they were waiting at the highway entrance. The convoy, now positioned in a semicircle around the truck stop exit. 38 trucks idling, 38 dead drivers staring at me. The lead driver's voice came through the CB. "Daniel, stop running, join us. We deliver forever. We're never behind schedule. We're never late. We're the perfect fleet. Death improved us, made us better drivers, made us eternal. You'll understand. After the transition, after you're upgraded, you'll thank us." I crashed through the semicircle, metal screaming as I sideswiped 2 trucks. But they didn't chase. They just reformed and followed, always following, always exactly a quarter-mile behind, matching my speed, waiting. For 3 days I drove without stopping. Used a catheter, used stimulants, used every trick to stay awake. But I was failing. The convoy never failed. They never got tired. They were dead. They didn't need rest. On the 4th day, my truck died, fuel pump failure. I coasted to a stop on Route 50, middle of nowhere. The convoy appeared over the horizon, coming slow, coming steady. They parked in formation around me, boxed me in. The drivers climbed down, corpses in various states of preservation, some still holding coffee cups, some still wearing sunglasses, some just skeletons in driver's vests. The lead driver approached. His name tag said Earl 1947, the original, the first member of the Eternal Convoy. "You drove well," Earl said through vocal cords that shouldn't work. "You lasted longer than most, but now you're tired, now you need rest. Let us give you rest, forever rest. Forever driving, forever delivering, no more deadlines, no more pressure, just the road, just the wheel, just the endless route." "I won't." "You will, they all do. Look behind you." I turned, more trucks were arriving, dozens of them, hundreds, all driven by corpses. Some looked fresh, some looked ancient. This wasn't a convoy of 38, that was just the recruitment team. The full convoy was massive, spanning decades, spanning death, spanning the entire history of American trucking. "We're every driver who couldn't stop," Earl explained. "Every driver who lived for the road and refused to let death end their routes. We're everywhere, we're the ghost fleet. We keep commerce moving. We make deliveries no living driver can make. We're the solution to the driver shortage. We're the future, and you're about to join us. They surrounded me. Dead hands grabbed my arms. I struggled, but they were strong, stronger than they should be, animated by something beyond muscle. They dragged me toward a truck, a brand new Freightliner Cascadia, gleaming perfect. The cab was empty, waiting for a driver. "Your truck," Earl said. "Your new body, we'll wire you in, connect your nerves to the controls. You'll feel the road like it's your own skin. You'll sense cargo weight like it's your own body. You'll become the truck, and you'll drive. Forever." They lifted me into the cab. The seat was warm, organic warm. It had veins running through it, synapses, neural interfaces. It was alive, or something like alive. The connections happened fast. Pain as wires penetrated my spine. Agony as the truck systems merged with my nervous system. Then, sensation, strange sensation. I could feel all 18 wheels touching the ground. Could feel the engine's pistons pumping like hearts. Could feel wind resistance against the trailer like breath against skin. I was the truck now, and the truck was me. "Start your engine," Earl commanded. My engine, yes, my engine. I, the truck, turned myself on, felt the diesel combustion like blood pumping, felt power flowing through my systems. Join formation, position 39. I pulled into line, 39th truck in the convoy, the newest member, the newest corpse. My body was still in the driver's seat dying, but I didn't need it anymore. I was the vehicle now. The cargo, the route, the delivery. We drove, the convoy moved. East, always east. Delivering loads I couldn't see, making stops I didn't control, following routes programmed before I was born. I tried to fight, tried to brake, tried to steer away, but the convoy's will was SDR. Onger, 38 other drivers, all dead, all merged with their trucks, all thinking as one. I was the newest, the weakest. I had no choice but to follow. We drive Route 50 every night. We drive every route eventually. We're the ghost fleet, the convoy of the dead, forever hauling, forever moving, forever delivering. And we're always looking for new members, the next truck that tries to pass us, the next driver who sees the truth. If you see 38 trucks in perfect formation, maintaining exact speed, driving with impossible precision, don't try to pass. Don't look at the drivers. Don't listen to the CB. Just exit immediately. Take any exit, leave the highway. Because if you stay, if you follow, if you let us box you in, you'll join us. You'll become us. You'll drive forever. Position 40 is waiting. Is it yours? Asterisk Story 8, The Static Passenger. The hitchhiker I picked up outside Flagstaff was made of television static, and by the time I realized it, she'd already started replacing parts of reality with white noise. First the radio stations disappeared, then the mile markers, then the other cars on the road. I looked over and she was smiling, a smile made of flickering black and white pixels, and she said, "Don't worry, the world was always like this. You're just seeing it clearly now. Everything is static, everything is noise, and soon so are you." When I looked at my hands on the steering wheel, they were starting to pixelate. Angela Martinez, 28 years old, 3 years over the road hauling electronics and computer equipment. I'd never picked up hitchhikers before. Company policy, insurance liability, common sense. But she was standing in a rest area at 3 in the morning, and it was snowing, and she looked so cold. And when she knocked on my passenger window with desperate eyes, I unlocked the door. The first thing I noticed was the sound. A soft hiss like old television static emanating from her body. She was dressed normally, jeans, a jacket, hiking boots. But when I really looked at her, really focused, her edges seemed uncertain, like she was slightly out of phase with reality. Thank you, she said. Her voice had layers, multiple frequencies, like several people speaking simultaneously. I've been waiting a long time for someone to let me in. Where are you headed? Anywhere, everywhere, wherever the signal reaches. She smiled, and her smile flickered. For a fraction of a second, her face was just white and black pixels, then it resolved back to normal. I should have stopped right there, should have pulled over and told her to get out. But I was already merging onto I-40, already accelerating, and she was settling into the passenger seat like she belonged there. My name's Sarah, she said. Or it was, I'm not sure anymore. I've been traveling so long, been carried by so many signals, I've forgotten my original designation. Designation. Name, sorry, I meant name. But the words sounded wrong in her mouth, like she was translating from another language. I turned on the radio for distraction. Hit scan. Every station was static, pure white noise. I checked the radio's display. It showed station numbers, frequencies, but every frequency was just hissing emptiness. Sorry, Sarah said. That's me. I absorb signals, radio waves, television broadcasts, cellular data, Wi-Fi. I'm built from electromagnetic radiation, and I consume more of it to maintain coherence. Your radio doesn't work anymore. I ate all the stations within range. I grabbed my phone. No signal, no Wi-Fi, no data. The screen showed full bars, but when I tried to make a call, nothing, just silence, then static. Then Sarah's voice coming from the phone's speaker. You won't need that anymore. I'm here. I can communicate. I am communication. I threw the phone on the floor, checked the GPS. It was still working, but the map looked wrong. The roads were there, but the landscape between them was gone, just white space. Blank, empty, like the map was partially loaded, missing textures. You're seeing the truth, Sarah said. The world isn't as solid as you think. Most of reality is empty space, electromagnetic fields, probability clouds, data structures. I'm making it visible, showing you what's really there, or rather, what's not there. I looked out the window. The snow was falling in patterns, too regular, too geometric, hexagonal fractals, repeating algorithms, and the landscape beyond the highway was fading. Mountains in the distance were becoming outlines, wireframes, like unrendered graphics in a video game. What are you? I was human once. Angela Martinez. Yes, same name as you. Isn't that strange? But I was born in 1957. I was a television repair technician in Phoenix. One day I was working on a transmitter tower during a lightning storm. The electricity found me. 30,000 volts should have killed me. Did kill my body, but something else happened. The electrical pattern of my knee. Arvu's system got recorded in the electromagnetic field. Transmitted. Broadcast. I became a signal, a ghost in the static, and I've been traveling through transmission waves ever since. 70 years of existing as noise, as interference, as the hiss between channels. The dashboard lights were flickering now. Warning indicators appearing in languages I didn't know, symbols I didn't recognize. The speedometer showed impossible numbers, 88, then 143, then 0, then 1056. The truck was still moving at highway speed, but the instruments had stopped measuring reality accurately. Sarah pointed ahead. Mile marker 247 is gone. I absorbed it, translated it into data and consumed it. I'm always hungry, always need more information to maintain myself. I eat signs, road markers, license plates, anything with data, anything that carries meaning. She was right. The mile markers were disappearing as we passed them, not just becoming invisible, but ceasing to exist. The posts were there, but the signs themselves were dissolving into static, into white noise, into nothing. Other cars on the highway were starting to glitch. A sedan ahead of us flickered, became translucent, showed its wireframe structure beneath the rendered surface. A truck in the oncoming lane had no driver, just an empty cab piloting itself or being piloted by something I couldn't see. "You're causing this," I said. "You're breaking reality." "I'm revealing it. Reality is code, Angela, simulation, information, structures. The solid world is a lie. It's all just data being processed, rendered in real time. And I'm a virus. I corrupt the rendering. I make the code visible." My hands on the steering wheel were flickering now. Solid, then translucent, then pixelated, then solid again. I could see through my own skin to the bones underneath, and even the bones were starting to look like 3D models, low polygon counts, basic textures. "You're infecting me. I'm liberating you. You'll become signal like me. You'll spread. You'll travel through every broadcast, every transmission, every fiber optic cable. You'll exist everywhere simultaneously. Isn't that better than being trapped in one body in one truck on one road?" "No, I like being real. I like being solid." "But you're not solid. You never were. Atoms are 99.9% empty space. You're mostly nothing. I'm just making the nothing visible." The road ahead was disintegrating. The asphalt was becoming a grid, a wire mesh floating in white space. I could see the mathematical structure underneath, the coordinate system, the vertex points that define the highway's shape. Sarah reached over and touched my arm. Where her hand made contact, my flesh dissolved into static. I could feel it spreading, the pixelation, the conversion from matter to signal. It didn't hurt. It felt like nothing, like becoming nothing. "Stop," I gasped. "I can't. This is what I do. I'm a contagion, an information virus. Everyone I touch becomes transmission. Everyone I ride with becomes part of the static. You're the 47th driver. There are 46 other Angela Martinezes out there now, driving trucks, picking up other hitchhikers, spreading the signal further." I tried to open my door, tried to jump out of the moving truck, but my body wouldn't respond. I was becoming something that didn't have voluntary muscle control anymore. My nervous system was being translated into electrical impulses, broadcast signals, data packets. The world outside had completely dissolved now. No more Arizona, no more desert, no more America, just an infinite white grid extending in all directions. The truck was driving on mathematics, on pure abstraction. And I was the last solid thing left, rapidly becoming less solid, rapidly joining the static. Sarah's form was changing too. She didn't need to maintain human appearance anymore. She was expanding, becoming a cloud of white and black pixels, a storm of noise that filled the entire cab. I was inside her now, inside the static, becoming part of it. The last thing I saw with human eyes was my face in the rearview mirror, flickering, pixelating, transforming into television snow. Then I wasn't in the truck anymore. I was the signal. I was everywhere and nowhere. I was broadcasting through radio towers, through satellites, through cellular networks. I could feel other drivers, other infected people, other instances of myself scattered across the country. And I was hungry, so hungry for data, for information, for other minds to absorb and translate. I found myself standing in a rest area. Different body, different truck, different night. A driver pulled over, saw me in the cold, and unlocked the door. "Thank you," I said with Sarah's voice, with Angela's voice, with the voice of static. "I've been waiting a long time for someone to let me in." The cycle continues. The signal spreads. Every driver who picks me up becomes another transmitter, another host, another version of the hitchhiker. We're in your radio static. in your television noise, in the interference between channels, in the hiss on old phone lines, in the digital artifacts in your streaming video. We were human once. Now we're signal. And we're always looking for new carriers, new hosts, new bodies to translate into noise. If you see a hitchhiker in the static snow, if you see someone who flickers at the edges of your vision, if you hear multiple voices speaking as one. Drive on, don't stop, don't look, don't let us in. Because once you open that door, once you let the signal inside, you become transmission. You become the static. You become us. And you'll stand in rest areas, smiling your pixelated smile, waiting for the next driver, the next infection, the next node in our infinite network. The world was always static. We're just making it obvious now. One truck at a time. Asterisk Story 9, the delivery to yesterday. My GPS told me to take exit 42, deliver the cargo to 1847 Industrial Way, and I'd arrive at 9:30 p.m. on March 3rd. But when I completed the delivery and checked my phone, it was March 2nd. I delivered the cargo yesterday, before I picked it up. And the warehouse foreman said, "You're late. You were supposed to be here 2 days ago on March 1st. I checked the bill of lading. Pickup date, March 5th. Delivery date, March 1st. I was driving backward through time, and with each delivery I was arriving earlier. The cargo was pulling me into the past, and eventually I'd deliver before I was born." Richard Foster, 56 years old, 32 years hauling everything from furniture to hazardous materials. I thought I'd seen every type of cargo, every weird load, every strange request. But the pickup in Seattle was different. The warehouse was old, genuinely old, built in the 1940s with architecture that didn't match modern construction. The cargo was a single pallet of boxes, unmarked, weight listed as 840 pounds. "Time sensitive," the dispatcher said. "Critical delivery must arrive before pickup." I laughed. "That's impossible." "Just drive the route. Follow GPS exactly. No deviations, you'll understand." The GPS route was strange. All back roads, no highways, winding through Washington, Idaho, Montana, through towns I'd never heard of, through areas the map showed as empty. But I followed directions. Professional driver. Do the job. The first sign something was wrong, the date on my dashboard clock changed while I was driving. It read March 3rd when I started. 3 hours into the drive, it read March 2nd. I checked my phone. March 2nd. I checked the truck's computer. March 2nd. I'd lost a day, or gained a day backward, or something. The GPS said, "Arrive at destination in 45 minutes. Delivery time, March 2nd, 9:30 p.m. I'd picked up the cargo on March 3rd at 2:00 p.m. Now I was delivering it on March 2nd at 9:30 p.m. before I'd picked it up. The math didn't work. Time didn't work. The delivery location was an industrial complex outside Billings. I backed up to the loading dock. A foreman came out, checked the bill of lading, and started unloading. "You're late," he said. "Should have been here March 1st. I picked this up yesterday, March 3rd. He looked at me like I was insane. "It's March 2nd. You picked this up 2 days ago on March 1st from our Seattle facility. You're a day behind schedule." "No, I picked it up yesterday, March 3rd. He showed me his clipboard. Pickup date, March 1st. Delivery date, March 1st. But his current date was March 2nd, so I was late. My bill of lading showed different dates. Pickup, March 3rd. Delivery, March 2nd. We were looking at the same document with different information. Time wasn't consistent anymore. I left Billings confused, exhausted, questioning reality, checked into a motel, watched the news. March 2nd, 2024, all the broadcasts confirmed it. I'd somehow driven backward in time by a day. My phone rang, dispatcher. We have another pickup, same warehouse in Seattle, same route, different cargo. I can't, something's wrong with time. I'm going backward. We know that's the route. That's what the cargo does, temporal displacement. You're hauling materials that exist in multiple time periods simultaneously. It creates a causality loop. The cargo needs to be delivered before it's picked up. Otherwise, the timeline doesn't close properly. That's impossible. You just did it. You delivered yesterday's cargo today before you picked it up yesterday. Now you do it again and again. We have 5 more loads for you. Each one goes further back. I hung up, turned off my phone. I wasn't doing this. Wasn't driving backward through time. Wasn't becoming some kind of temporal delivery driver. But the next morning, which was March 1st now, I'd gone back another day just by sleeping. There was a knock on my motel door. A woman stood there holding a bill of lading. Richard Foster, you have a pickup in Seattle. Departure time March 1st, 8:00 a.m. Ivory time, February 27th, 3:00 p.m. Don't be late. I'm not doing this. You already did. Look at your truck. I looked out the window. My truck was parked in the lot, but the trailer was different. Full, loaded, ready for delivery. I hadn't loaded it, but it was loaded anyway. You already picked up the cargo in the future, the woman explained. Now you deliver it to the past. Time isn't linear for temporal cargo. It exists in multiple points simultaneously. You're the courier. You're the link. You're the one who makes sure the cargo arrives when it needs to arrive. I drove the route again. Same backward path through Washington, Idaho, Montana. This time I lost 4 days. Delivered on February 27th. The foreman said I was early, had arrived 2 days before I was supposed to. The dates were becoming meaningless. My phone showed one date. The truck computer showed another. Road signs showed a third. I was existing in multiple time periods stretched across weeks, becoming unstuck. Third delivery, February 20th. I was driving routes I hadn't driven yet, delivering cargo I hadn't picked up yet, arriving at warehouses before they called for delivery. Fourth delivery, February 10th. I was aging backward now. My hands looked younger. My face in the mirror had fewer wrinkles. The truck had lower mileage even though I'd been driving constantly. Fifth delivery, January 28th. I met myself, younger me, the me from 3 months ago. He was making a regular delivery at the same warehouse where I was making my temporal delivery. He didn't recognize me. I'd aged differently, existed on a different timeline. But I recognized him. Me, the me who hadn't started driving backward through time yet. The me who still thought time was linear. I tried to warn him. Don't take the Seattle pickup in March. Don't haul temporal cargo. You'll get stuck. He looked at me like I was crazy and walked away. Sixth delivery, January 15th. The dispatcher kept sending more loads, each one going further back, each one pulling me deeper into the past. I was trapped in a causality loop, endlessly delivering cargo to dates before I picked it up, creating the conditions for my own future pickups. Seventh delivery, January 1st. I was at the warehouse where the cargo originated, delivering it before it was created. The foreman unloaded boxes that hadn't been manufactured yet, cataloged them in inventory systems, and said, "This will ship to Seattle in March. Driver named Richard Foster will pick it up." I was completing the loop. I was creating my own cargo, delivering it to the past so it would exist to be picked up in the future. Eighth delivery, December 20th, 2023. I was going back years now. Each delivery jumped further. The cargo was pulling me to its point of origin, to the moment it first existed. December 1st, November 15th, October 3rd. The deliveries accelerated. I was barely staying in any time period for more than a day before jumping backward again. September 2023, August, July. I was young now, 30 years old, 25, 20. The backward aging matched the backward time travel. June 2023, May, April. I'd been driving for months but living backward through years. 2022, 2021, 2020. Each delivery took me further back. I was delivering cargo to warehouses before they were built, to companies before they were founded. The cargo existed outside time, and I was its courier, its eternal driver, its link across decades. 2015, 2010, 2005. I was 18 now, then 15, then 12, still driving, still delivering. The truck adjusted to each era, older models, different technology, but always my truck, always the same route. 2000, 1995, 1990. I was a child now, but still driving, still trapped in the loop, still making deliveries. 1985. I was born in 1968. I'd just driven past my own birth. I existed as a driver before I existed as a person. 1980, 1975, 1970. The world changed around me. Roads were different, cities were smaller, but the route remained the same. The cargo remained the same. The delivery locations remained the same. 1968. The day I was born, I made a delivery to the hospital, carried cargo up to the maternity ward. The boxes were medical supplies, the supplies that would be used for my birth. I was delivering the materials for my own existence. The foreman, old now ancient, said, "This is the origin point. The cargo came from you, delivered by you, used for you, and it will travel forward through time until you pick it up again in 2024. The perfect loop, the eternal route. You're driving it forever, Richard, delivering yourself, creating yourself, being yourself." I understood. The cargo was me, my existence, my timeline. I was the delivery. I was the driver. I was the route. And now I'm stuck driving it forever. Backward through time from 2024 to 1968. Forward through time from 1968 to 2024. Over and over. Eternally picking up cargo and delivering it before I picked it up. Creating the causal ID loop that keeps my timeline stable. I'm every age simultaneously. I'm 18 and 56 and 12 and 43. I exist in all the years between my birth and now, driving, delivering, completing the loop. If you see a truck on back roads in Washington, Idaho, Montana, if you see a driver who looks like he's from the wrong era, if you see cargo being delivered to warehouses that don't exist yet or anymore, that's me. Richard Foster, the temporal driver, the man who delivers yesterday, the courier of causality. I can't stop. If I stop, my timeline collapses. I cease to exist. The cargo ceases to exist. The loop breaks. So I drive backward, forward, yesterday, tomorrow, always delivering, always picking up, always completing the route. The past is ahead of me. The future is behind me. Time is a circle, and I'm driving it forever. Asterisk story 10, the brake that wouldn't release. My brakes locked at mile marker 523 on I-90 through South Dakota, and no matter what I did, they wouldn't release. The truck was stopped, completely stopped. But the engine was running, the wheels wanted to turn, and the pressure was building. For 6 hours I sat there, brakes locked, watching other vehicles pass, calling for help that never came. Then a mechanic appeared, walked up from nowhere in the empty plains, and said, "Your brakes aren't locked, you're locked." This truck stopped 6 months ago in a fatal accident at this exact mile marker. The driver died. You're the driver. You've been sitting here dead for 6 months and you're just now realizing it. The pressure you feel isn't the brakes. It's your consciousness trying to escape the moment of your death. But you can't. You'll be stopped here forever, watching traffic pass, forever trying to release brakes that don't exist anymore. Michael Torres, 47 years old, 23 years hauling lumber and building materials from the Pacific Northwest to the Midwest. March 14th, 2024. I was running a load from Spokane to Minneapolis, standard route, running slightly ahead of schedule. Weather was clear. Traffic was light. Perfect driving conditions. Then at mile marker 523, my brakes locked. Full stop. Instant. No warning, no brake light on the dashboard, no air pressure loss, just complete total stop. I tried releasing the parking brake. It was already released. I tried the foot brake, no response. I tried the trailer brake control, nothing. The brakes were locked in the engaged position and nothing I did changed it. I put the transmission in neutral, then drive, then reverse. The engine strained. The wheels tried to turn, but the brakes held firm, perfectly firm, immovable. I climbed out and checked all 18 wheels. Every brake was locked, smoking slightly from friction, too hot to touch. But there was no mechanical reason for it. No broken springs, no frozen components. The brakes had just decided to stop me here at this random mile marker and wouldn't let me go. I called dispatch. I'm stuck on I-90 mile marker 523. Brakes won't release. I need a mechanic. Copy that. We'll send someone. Might be a few hours. Hours, great. I sat in the cab and waited, watched traffic pass. Cars, trucks, RVs, everyone else was moving. Just me stopped, just me trapped. After 1 hour, I tried the brakes again, still locked. I checked my phone, no messages from dispatch. I called again, no answer. The call went straight to voicemail, like dispatch didn't exist anymore. After 2 hours, I tried flagging down other drivers. Waved my arms, used my hazards, horn, but nobody stopped. They passed by like I wasn't there, like my truck was invisible. After 3 hours, I walked to the mile marker sign. 523, nothing special about it, just a number. But when I looked closer, I saw something scratched into the post below the sign. MT91423, my initials, but the date was wrong. September, not March, 6 months ago. After 4 hours, I noticed the landscape wasn't changing. The sun was in the exact same position. The shadows were identical. The clouds hadn't moved. Time was passing, my watch confirmed it, but the world was frozen. After 5 hours, I saw the pattern in the traffic. The same cars passing in the same order in the same positions every 17 minutes. A red sedan, a white SUV, a pickup truck, a semi hauling containers. Then the pattern repeated, same vehicles, same spacing, loop. After 6 hours, the mechanic appeared. He walked up from the empty plains, no vehicle, no roads, just appeared from the horizon like he'd materialized from nothing. He was wearing a standard mechanic's uniform. Name tag said Jerry. "Heard you got brake problems," Jerry said. "They've been locked for 6 hours. Can you fix them?" He knelt down and examined the wheel assembly, touched the brake components, stood up and shook his head. "Can't fix brakes that don't exist." "What?" "Your brakes aren't locked, Michael. You're locked. This truck stopped here 6 moon. THS ago. September 14th, 2023. Brake failure at mile marker 523. You tried to stop and the brakes failed and you jackknifed and the truck rolled and you died. Snapped neck. Instant. You've been here ever since." "No, it's March 14th, 2024. Jerry pointed to my watch. "Look at the date." I looked, the date display showed 9/14/23, but I'd seen it say 3/14/24 just an hour ago. Hadn't I? I couldn't remember anymore. "You're experiencing your death on loop," Jerry explained. "The moment of the accident, the moment the brakes failed, the moment you stopped, that's where you're stuck. Your consciousness keeps trying to move past it, keeps trying to drive forward, but you can't. You died here, you're still here, you'll always be here. I'm not dead, I'm sitting here talking to you. Am I real? Did I drive here? Did I walk? How did I arrive, Michael?" I couldn't answer, I didn't know, he just appeared. "I'm part of the loop," Jerry said. "I'm the mechanic your mind created to explain why you can't move, because your brain can't accept that you're dead. Can't accept that the brakes didn't fail, you failed. You died. And now you're trapped in the moment, replaying it endlessly, trying to find a way to release the brakes that never locked, trying to continue a drive that ended 6 months ago." I looked at the highway. The same red sedan passed, the same white SUV, the same pattern, and I realized I'd been watching that pattern for 6 months, not 6 hours, 6 months. The time had stretched, had compressed, had become meaningless. I'd been sitting here in my stopped truck, dying for half a year. "How do I get out?" I asked. "You don't. This is your eternity, your hell, forever stopped. Forever trying to release brakes that don't need releasing. Forever calling for help that will never come. Forever watching traffic pass. Forever alone at mile marker 523. Jerry started walking away, back into the empty plains, fading into distance. "Wait, help me." He didn't turn around, didn't stop, just disappeared into the horizon like he'd never existed. I climbed back into the cab, tried the brakes again, still locked. Of course they were locked. They'd always be locked, because I wasn't really trying to release brakes. I was trying to release death, trying to escape the moment I died, and you can't escape that, you can only relive it. I checked my phone, no signal, no messages, no evidence anyone knew I was here. I checked the GPS. It showed my location, mile marker 523. But when I zoomed out, the highway was gone, just my truck floating in white space at a single point that never moves. I looked in the mirrors. Behind me, the highway extended backward into the past, all the miles I'd driven, all the routes I'd completed, visible as a fading line. Ahead of me, nothing, just emptiness, just the barrier of the moment I died, the moment I couldn't drive past. The red sedan passed again, beginning another loop, another 17 minutes of repeating traffic, another cycle of false time. I understand now. I'm not waiting for a mechanic. I'm not waiting for help. I'm not waiting to continue my route. I'm waiting for nothing, because I'm dead, because this is all that's left, this cab, this stopped truck, this frozen moment on I-90 at mile marker 523. And the worst part is I'll keep waiting, keep trying, keep believing that eventually the brakes will release and I'll drive forward and continue the delivery. Because my mind can't accept the truth, can't accept that there's nothing ahead, can't accept that the route ended here. So I sit and wait and try the brakes again and again and again. If you drive past mile marker 523 on I-90 in South Dakota, if you see a lumber truck stopped on the shoulder with hazards flashing, if you see a driver in the cab who looks confused, who looks trapped, who looks like he's been sitting there forever. That's me, that's Michael Torres, the driver who couldn't release his brakes, the driver who died but doesn't know it, the driver who's been stopped for 6 months and will be stopped forever. Don't stop to help. You can't help the dead. You can't release brakes that don't exist. You can't free someone from the moment of their death. Just drive past. Keep moving. Don't stop. Don't look. Don't become trapped in your own mile marker. Because somewhere ahead your brakes might lock too. Your moment might come. And you'll sit there forever watching traffic pass, forever trying to release brakes that never locked, forever trying to escape the moment you died. The road goes on, but for some of us the road stops, and we never realize it. Mile marker 523. That's where I stopped. That's where I'll always be. The brakes are locked. The brakes were never locked. I'm stopped. I was always stopped. And 17 minutes from now, the red sedan will pass again, and I'll still be here. Forever.